I'm great. And yourself, eh?
I'm looking at your arms thinking you're probably carrying the mortgage industry right now.
Sometimes it feels like it.
How you doing, brother?
I'm well, thanks, eh?
Welcome to Grown Money Moves. So you guys decided that this has been done over the God knows how many years, but we're going online.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, going online was a journey that we started some 5 years ago. I mean, I come out of the banking space, used to run mortgages for 2 banks, and the idea of, a marketplace was about saying, how do we get more people getting access to finance and getting access to knowing exactly what they can afford and what their credit is, what their relationship with credit has been. That's been the game, because if you don't know, you can't act. You can't really, act or access things that you are not aware of. So this was about creating accessibility to every South African. That's what going online has meant for us.
Going online is one of the easiest things to say, but to actually put it into practice is something else. What were some of the difficulties for you that you experienced?
Yeah, the idea is that you have a platform that aggregates all the banks, right?
Okay.
So getting banks to agree to do things is never easy, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't approach it from that perspective. We approach it from the perspective of, we're going to solve for the customer. We are going to solve for the idea that customers and everybody wants efficiency and convenience. So we effectively used an origination model and put that online, where customers could make a single application to multiple banks, all in real time. And being online is the great leveler, right? If you think about it, if we did not have an online platform, you would have to, number one, rely on all the banks being in your area if you wanted to get the best price. So you'd have to literally walk into a branch, right? And walk into the next branch and make the same application multiple times, right? And so a lot of people would never really get the efficiency of the best home loan product for them, especially knowing that it's a 20 to 30 year commitment. So bringing the entire mortgage process online has just helped people in 2 minutes to understand their credit, their affordability through a pre-approval, and then they make this application form in 10 minutes to all the banks, and then the banks actually compete for their own business, right? And that's exciting, because now you have a bank saying, I want to give you prime minus 50 basis points. The other one saying, I want to give you prime minus 75 basis points. And so the customer benefits at the end of the day, and that's great.
Applying for a home loan is still daunting. There's still language I don't understand. You're talking to me about we'll give you prime minus 50 basis point,
right,
etc. Do you guys break it down such that a first-time homeowner will understand the process and not feel like this is too much, I'll rent?
It's a really good question, right? And I think that it starts with saying the way the banks decide to price you, right, is based on how they feel about your relationship with credit.
Yes.
How have you used credit in the past, right? And often we never pay enough attention to that. We think that it's okay to take out a 5,000 Rand,
Red square.
And then not make those consistent repayments back. And when you don't do that, right, your credit score, which is probably the most important score important number outside of your ID, right, that begins to reflect a behavior that banks say, can we trust you with R1 million on this house, right? Or can we trust you with, we say, maybe you shouldn't be able to get R1 million, maybe you should just continue to rent until you have made good on previous payments, right? And so your ability to have a healthy relationship with credit, right, is the start of it, right? Once you have that dealt with, then the banks will say, well, how much house can we give you, which is based on how much income you earn. Right. And that's really, call it the basis on which the banks will give you a deal at prime minus or prime plus.
You don't have to answer this question, but do banks racially profile applicants?
That's been a myth for some time, right? And I would say absolutely not.
Okay.
However, people's lived experiences cannot be discounted.
Absolutely.
Right. So, for example, one of the things that the banking industry has dealt with has been, how do they grade the quality of a property that you want to buy? So certain banks will say, if you're buying in Soweto, it's more high risk, right? But chances are it's a black person that's going to be buying in Soweto rather than a property, the very same property being bought in Sandton, right? And so the profiling is not on the individual, it's on where the property is.
Okay, so you're saying the banks are failing to see the nuances.
Some of those nuances,
Yes.
yeah, where, and it really is just stemming from the fact that we've not had enough historical data,
Sure.
right, to say that actually housing in Soweto also appreciate in value.
Absolutely.
And they're worth being graded as A grade, the same way a house in Four Ways or in Sandton would be. And I think as we go along, it's a journey. It's always getting better, and banks are pricing appropriately. So there is less of this feeling of a quote unquote racial bias to
Yes,
it.
sir.
But there is no racial bias, to be quite frank about that.
I often hear a lot of home buyers or either selling and getting to a new property that have got experience, obviously, with the previous home loans, or first-time buyers, saying that banks are more inclined now because of the economy to reject people applying for home loans. Has this changed recently with the interest rates at least subsiding a bit?
Yeah, so the interest rates have impacted affordability, right? That's really what governed that. It was how much can you repay,
yes.
right? But the idea of how much do we lend to you in the first place has to do with how have you dealt with credit in the past.
Correct.
And we've come off the COVID pandemic, right, where the job market was decimated. People are stretched out there. We all know this. Our jobs are hard to come by, and so we're also now in a world of the gig economy where people don't earn consistent salaries. And banks are often grappling with trying to figure out what is your consistent salary over a 6-month period that they can rely on to say we will be able to lend to you at this rate. And so, because banks are there to lend, they have to also find ways of meeting people where they are. And I think that's the change that we're seeing now, is that even in our world, we think that the mortgage hasn't advanced in the last 30, 40 years, right? There should be a different type of mortgage. Things to allow us to do things like rent to own, right? Where we are, the challenge with renting, for example, is that people are not committed to those properties and to building those communities. So to give them some equity in that space, you need to have a product that allows them to feel vested in those. And I think that's really where the wave is coming, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
In closing, looking ahead, do you see online mortgage marketplaces shaping property and lending landscape in the next couple of years, perhaps? Or is this the only way to go soon?
It is the best way to go. I know it feels like I'm talking to my own book, but the reality is that marketplaces are the gateway.
Yeah.
Because there is it's the great leveler. There's a lot of price efficiency that it brings. And, with us, what we've been able to do on our platform is we've actually white labeled our technology. So right now you can get your home loan from your favorite brands, right? So on Take a Lot, you can now get your mortgage through that marketplace. On Easy Equities, on MTN, and we want to do more of that, and so that will become the gateway in terms of how people access their home loans going forward.
So I'm in the market for a new home or an investment home or a holiday home. How do I reach you guys?
Come see us on mortgagemarket.co.za or reach us out in the socials. We will give you the A to Z of the home ownership journey, how to pre-approve yourself within 2 minutes, how to get the best deal, and also the additional funding that we give to you, right, to support your home loan purchase, because it is an expensive endeavor. And there are costs involved, and so we recognize that, and we have products that help customers through that whole journey.
And I repeat, you guys will talk to us like we're 5-year-olds.
Absolutely.
So that we understand what we're getting ourselves into.
100%. We are not the bank, so the language that we use is very casual. We speak to you as normal human beings, and we empathize, and our products, showcase that in terms of, how we don't judge, and we try to figure out where you're at, and how we help bring you solutions that can help you through your home ownership journey as well.
So like your arms, is business pumping?
It's getting better each year. I like that. It's getting better.
Tim, thank you so much, brother man. All the best. And man, can you please continue giving our people access to facilities that ordinarily wouldn't be allowed?
No, certainly. Appreciate that.
Great stuff, man. This is Grown Money Moves on 938, hanging out with Tim Akinnusi, CEO, co-founder and CEO of mortgagemarket.co.za. Mortgagemarket.co.za. Tell them we sent you.